Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you. If you pop on, stick around. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to go over a lot of great information. And I'm going to help you regulate your nervous system so you can identity shift and then manifest whatever you desire. And I know because I've done it. So I feel like that's what can qualify me to teach this. So good to see everybody. So glad to have you here. So as you're joining in, let me know in the comments where you're coming in from. So hello, hello. Any questions that you have? Any things that you feel stuck with? Let me know. I'd love to help you. And you can always direct message me. Sometimes people don't always feel really comfortable being out in public and stating some of their questions or concerns. So you can always direct message me. And I also have some one-on-one coaching. There's a link in my bio, as well as my newsletter, because I send out twice a week newsletters. So I'd love to get you on my list and send you some information twice a week that can help you regulate your nervous system so that you can identity shift and then get results. Hello, hello, hello. Glad to have you. It's going to be a fun day today. So great to see everybody. So great to see you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, we're going to give everybody, it takes TikTok a few minutes to get everybody notified that we're here. So we're doing that. Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. We're going to be going over nervous system regulation. How do you do that in real time? How can you do that if you're triggered all the time, or if you have anxiety or depression, or something that doesn't make you feel too good? How can we help you to feel better? That's what we're here about. And it doesn't have to take a long time. It can be done quickly and easily. Sometimes we get roped into thinking to feel better, we have to do years of work on ourselves, and we don't have to. That's not the case at all that I have found. I have found that we can do this work actually rather quickly, and it's not easy, but it's simple, and it's just a matter of consistency. But we're going to be going over that today in some of the material that I'd love to go over with you. But I'm here really to answer questions, and I let the conversation drive what we talk about and the direction that we take. So glad to see you. Hello, hello. Oh, thank you everybody for coming on. Thank you. Glad to see you. And if you find this information helpful, please share it with your friends. Please share the live. That really helps us to get the word out there that there are ways that we can all kind of use to self-regulate and to increase our emotional intelligence so that we can live, so that we can live happier, more fulfilled. Just waiting for a few more people to come on because I know there are going to be people who are joining us. So good to have you here. Thank you for joining. So today, we're going to talk about nervous system regulation, how you can do it in real time, quickly, and effectively, because that's one of my specialties. For those who may not know me or haven't been on the live before, I'm a pharmacist of 40 years, and I now believe that meditation is medication. And I went on a healing journey spiritually. I've always been into personal development, but after I had breast cancer about 13, 14 years ago now, wow, I can't believe it's been that long, and I'm fully recovered. I'm definitely a victor. I don't like to say survivor because I didn't just survive. I was victorious over it. And God helped me with that. God and Jesus. Absolutely. So once I overcame that, when I was thinking about it, I thought about what caused me, or what was, hi, welcome. Nice to have you join us. So glad to have you. So what happened with the breast cancer is that I realized that stress was literally killing me. It was literally killing me. At the time of my breast cancer, I had I'm sorry, I'm just saying, oh, thank you for liking the live. If you have any questions, absolutely just drop them. I'd love to answer any questions that you have, or anything that you might want to talk about, or you can direct message me. Some people don't like to put in their information maybe in public, but I'd love to help you. So what we talk about here is regulation of your nervous system so that you can identity shift and then quantum leap with your results. And I know because that's what I've done. So as I was saying, I had breast cancer like 14 years ago, and what happened with that breast cancer is when I really stopped and thought about it, I thought stress is literally killing me. And the doctor said that it was stress as well as my alcohol use and my obesity. But the obesity and alcohol use were a byproduct of the stress. So I went on this journey, and I've been on this journey ever since, because life is not a destination, right? It's not the destination that we always work on, is the journey to get there. So with that being said, I've done a lot of different things over the years to really help myself feel better and to reach the goals that I want to reach. And what I have come up, hello, welcome. A baby would suit me really good. I don't know about that. I'm a little old for that. But thank you. I actually am going to be 65 this September, and my goal for my 65th birthday is to run a 5K. So I'm going to be a 5K runner at that point. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So watch me for that journey. But with the nervous system regulation over the years, what I've done, and I know that's a new buzzword out, or not new, but it's really a buzzword out there. So let me know in the comments, have you ever thought about your nervous system, or trying to regulate your nervous system? Is that something that you've had issues with? So it is. Yep. Absolutely. So welcome all those new people who have come on. And if you have any questions, please just let me know. And if I know who you are outside of here, but I don't know your handle, I'm sorry. So, Rashad, thank you for joining. Mona, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all of the hearts that you're giving me. So, when I decided, or when I investigated and I thought about what is causing all of this stress, I realized that here I was living a life that I thought was so great, but I was so stressed out from everything. I owned 2 pharmacies. I did a lot of advocacy. I did a lot of different things. And yet inside I was really unhappy. So fast forward to today, the last couple of years, I realized that if I really wanted to change, that was hard to do without first regulating my nervous system. Thank you for all the people who are joining. Thank you so much. Thank you. And with that, I was like, I have to regulate my nervous system. I've got to get out of this loop. And over the last couple of years, I've learned how to do that. And I actually have a method that I use for myself first, because I don't teach anything that I don't do myself. So I want to make sure you can hear that. Sorry, my my speaker here was not working correctly. So thank you so much. Hey, Privy, how are you? Glad to see you. Ahmed, glad to see you. Oh, Bevy, thank you so much. And thank you, Mona, for the likes and for joining me. I'm so grateful to have everybody here, because I feel like the information that I can share can make such a difference for you. And that's what I'm hey, thank you for that. And I just feel like that's really what my God-given purpose here on earth is to really help people who are suffering. Because many of us, especially women, suffer, right? We silently suffer because we've got all this underlying tension, anxiety, but yet we're expected to do so much. Has anybody felt that way? Let me know. I'd love to know. I'm sure that many of you have, because it just seems to be so prevalent today, right? Where so many of women are just silently not fulfilled, and they have this angst about them, about different things. So the method that I've really come up with is how to regulate your nervous system fast, because some people have been taught or believe that your nervous system is dysregulated and it takes perhaps months of work, or it takes a lot of time. You've got to do all this inner child's work or shadow work, or you've got to do different things to be regulated. And I'm here to tell you that that's not necessarily true, because I have found that there are ways that you can do that. And I have a whole system and framework that people can use to regulate their nervous system. And we're kind of going to go through that today. And I'm actually going to show you 2 techniques that I teach that you can do in the minute whenever you feel triggered or hyped up or dysregulated. So does that sound good? Let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So the system, and this can really work for anything, especially like money, when you're having a difficult meeting, or you're trying to manifest your special person. Because I have a friend, so you got to go follow her, the Knockout Babe, and she's an expert in helping people to manifest their SPs. But a lot of people feel really triggered, or they feel like they're dysregulated, and that's hard to overcome in order to then regulate your nervous system. So I'm not sure who you are, Jamatron. So I don't normally have guests on, but that's okay. I have some good messages, so you can watch, and maybe you can send me a message after, and we can talk about maybe another time. So thank you so much for everybody who's on. As I said, all of these loves and likes, I just am so grateful. So as I was saying, and if you've got any questions or concerns, definitely put them in the chat. And as I said, if you're not sure, or you don't want to put something in here that's personal, you can always direct message me. So in order to really regulate yourself, because that's something that, as I said, so many women go through so much and they're expected to hold so much, right? They are expected to have this capacity to hold families, their own career, children, their husbands, their parents, everybody. They're like women, as we know, right, are expected to hold all that. So what happens when you get dysregulated is you have certain thoughts, because thoughts lead to emotion, which leads to action. And when people have thoughts that are negative or not serving you, that's the first step, is to really stop and think about what you're thinking about. So the first step to being regulated is to notice the pattern of your thoughts. So as humans, we're one of the only species that has this prefrontal cortex in our brain, which is the area that gives us thoughts. And it's a really good thing because we can do so much more than other species, right? Other species can't go to the moon. We can. But it can be a really bad thing because it can think negative and go down that road of thoughts that inhibit us or make us sick. And I know a lot of the science behind this. I'm a pharmacist of 40 years. I've owned 2 pharmacies of my own, and I've done a lot of research into this. So I understand the science, and I don't want to go deep into it because, sometimes that's good to know, but sometimes that doesn't help us in the minute. And really what I'm here for is to help you in the minute. So thank you again for all of those who are joining. I so appreciate it, and all the hearts. So when you have recognition of those thoughts, that's the first step to regulating yourself, because that's really what we want to do, is to have some regulation in the moment, right here, right now. So number 1 is to recognize the thought and to try to stop it right in the moment. Because what happens if you continue to have thoughts that are not serving you or negative, once that train leaves the station, it is hard to stop. Think about a train going down, railroad tracks. It's really hard to stop it, right? There's a lot of momentum behind it. There's a lot of force. There's a lot of weight. Well, that's what happens with our thoughts. They start going down this neural network highway, and it's really hard to stop it, to bring it back to you. And it's better to try to catch it at the station. It's scientifically shown that if you have a thought, another thought will come, and another thought will come, and another thought will come. And after just like 68 seconds, it is really difficult to change. And I'm sure, you probably have had that happen. So if that's happened to you, let me know in the comments that, yes, you've had something like that where you start thinking, and before you knew it, you were in the worst case scenario. So let's talk about like your SP, for example. So you start having a thought about, oh, they're not going to call me. I texted them. They didn't text me back. What's wrong with me? And once you start having thoughts like that, it starts going quicker and quicker down that railroad track. So the best way to stop it is to stop it as soon as you catch the pattern. So that's step number 1. And if you have any questions about that, let me know. Nope. Okay, it looks like everybody's pretty good on that. So you want to catch that pattern before it runs you, because it will definitely run you. The second thing is you want to regulate yourself in real time. And what does that mean? That means getting out of your freaking head and into your body. Because when we're in our head, that's when we get into trouble. Does anybody else know what I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about, because you start ruminating then. And so, and where are thoughts and where are negative feelings and where are those things in the world? Is it on your body? Is it on your desk? No, it's only in your mind. So what I have found works really well is once you start catching those thoughts is that if you can regulate, which is normally some kind of somatic work, very simple. I'm going to go through some in a minute. But if you can catch yourself and then regulate right in that moment to get out of your head and into your body, you can stop those thoughts. So what do I mean by some regulation? Some of the regulation techniques that I use with my clients and even myself personally, like I do this every time before I come on a live. I've only been doing the lives a couple of weeks, and it can be a little nerve-wracking because you're new at it and just getting used to it. Although let me tell you, if you want to get over being confident or being not confident, come and do a TikTok live. It will help you very quickly to do that. Thank you for everybody who's joining. Thank you, Yara. I appreciate it. Can't pronounce your name. MS3 times 2. Thank you very much. Chi Junde. Thank you, Amajda. I don't know if I'm pronouncing names right, but I really appreciate everybody coming on. Thank you so much. And thank you for the hearts. I really appreciate it. It's just a pleasure to be here. So regulate your body. So you want to interrupt the state of your negative thoughts by regulating your body. And there's a couple of things that I teach. So I'm going to just go ahead and there's one thing that I want to take you through an experience of. So rather than teaching it, I would like you to experience it, because this is something that you can take with you after this live and use it in your real life. And that's the whole point of this, is to have you use something in your real life to make a difference so that you can get regulated in the moment. Hello, Ella. Hello, La Confiance. Hello, Hassam. Thank you so much for joining. I so appreciate it. So you're not broken. Your body is just running a pattern, right? You're just running a pattern. So I'm going to invite you. So you and Dams, thank you so much for joining. So I'm going to invite you to sit back and relax. And if you're in a place where you feel comfortable and safe, to close your eyes, if that feels good for you. And as you close your eyes, I'm going to ask you to breathe slower than normal. And for those who are just joining, Kafenia, Patty, this is a technique that you can do in real time, in real life. Hi, MD Kakari. This is a technique that you can do in real life, real time, to regulate your nervous system immediately. Sit back and relax. Close your eyes. Breathe in and out through your nose area slower than normal. I suggest 5 in, 6 out, because that extra breath going out will help to stimulate your vagal nerve, which helps with the regulation. So breathe in and out. Breathe in 5, out 6. It doesn't have to be a full inhalation or exhalation. It's just a slower than normal pace. And as you're doing that, I'm going to invite you to feel it, not imagine it or try to visualize it, but feel it going through your heart area. So what I do is I take my left hand and put it on my chest, so to remind me to go through the heart area. So in 5, out 6. In 5, out 6, through your heart area. And thoughts may come, and that's okay. We just dismiss them and go back to the breath. Because when you go back to the breath, it's in the breath that the present moment is, and that's when you have the most power. Hi, Tish. Hi, Zanu. Thank you so much for joining. We're doing a technique to help you regulate in real time. To breathe in 5, out 6, and feeling it going through your heart area. Now I'd like to invite you to think of somebody that you love or care for who's special in your life, to think of them and bring them up in your mind. And then I'd like you to generate a feeling of love, compassion, empathy, caring, whatever it may have been, whatever it may be, to generate some kind of love feeling or compassion or empathy while you're thinking about that person who's special in your life. And then as you do that, I'm going to ask you to radiate that feeling out to that person. So this breath technique can help you to regulate in real time immediately. Breathing in 5, out 6, feeling it going through the heart, thinking of a person that is special to you, and then generate a feeling of love, compassion, empathy, and radiate that out to them. Let's do a few more breaths. And then I invite you to come back into the room, come back to your body. Hi, Ina. Hi, Nancy. Thank you for joining. Hi, Addie. So that technique, that breath work that we just did, if you have any comments about how it helped or what you felt, or I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Hi, Absorb Brain Cancy. So hello, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. And I'd love to hear your experience with that. So it was really great. Yep. It can really change your life. If you use that one technique, it has been scientifically proven that if you use that one technique for 3 minutes at any time, you will have 6 hours of biological, physiological, and chemical changes in your body. Because what happens when you get dysregulated, you have an overproduction of chemicals that can be harmful to you, and especially like cortisol, epinephrine. I'm sure that those are some of the kind of chemicals that you've heard about. And we need those chemicals. But what happens is when you have those chemicals in your body at a higher than normal level for an extended period of time, it causes inflammation. And inflammation is the basis for all diseases. Inflammation has been shown to be the number one cause for doctor visits. They estimate 80 to 90% of doctor visits are due to inflammation. That's crazy. So if you can stop the inflammation, you're actually stopping disease. And ladies, it's an anti-aging. So it can actually help with your telomeres and your heart rate variability, which again is all scientifically proven. So you can actually anti-age from doing this kind of work. And who doesn't want that? We talked about regulating your nervous system and the formula that I use. The first is become aware, to think about what you think about, to try to stop that pattern in real time, to then regulate your body because you're interrupting the state and you're getting your mind out of your body. So a second technique that I'd like to share with you today is something that's very simple, but it is amazing. And it basically is putting your left hand on your left eye and then looking up with your right eye to the ceiling and just breathing in and out a little slower than normal. And by doing that, you can regulate yourself in real time immediately. So just do it until you feel like a shift, or for about a minute. As you take your hand off your eye, woo, that made me a little dizzy. That can happen. That can definitely happen. So why does this work? Why does putting your left hand over your left eye help you to calm your nervous system in real time? Thank you so much for joining, Sarah and Murad, everybody. Thank you so much. So why does that work? The left brain, thank you so much for showing me some support. I appreciate it. Tux, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of the support that everybody is. So definitely share this live. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So Tux, I'm going to look you up. You just followed me, I think, so I'll definitely follow you. So that's another thing we should do on TikTok, everybody, is, support the creators who are on here who are really trying to make a difference. It really helps us all when we can have support for everybody, because it engages the content and it engages others to interact with us so that, our message can be seen and heard from a lot of people. So thank you so much for liking it. I really appreciate it. So why does that work? So what we're talking about is nervous system regulation in real time. We went over how the first step is to really notice the pattern. The second is to do some kind of technique. So we did a breath technique, and then we did a left eye covering technique. And what happens is that when you cover your left eye with your left hand, the right side of the brain is largely responsible for processing emotions and stress. But the left side of the body is really what controls the right side of the brain. So when you cover your left eye, you're actually lowering the temperature to the amygdala, which is your threat center in the body, because the right side of the brain, so when you cover your left eye, you're affecting the right side of the brain, and that's the part of the brain that has our emotions, the stress response. So you're really helping to rewire your brain literally so that your right brain is working more with your left brain, and your left brain is working a little bit harder at that point. And that helps you to reset. I know that you have a beautiful day too, Tux. Thank you so much for stopping in. I appreciate it. Zahad, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me. Again, any questions, you can put it here in the comments. You can direct message me. And I also have some one-on-one coaching with a link in my bio. I send out twice a week newsletters, and that's also in my link in my bio. So the left eye technique will work because it also is bilateral stimulation. So what that does is it helps the brain to talk to each other. So when we're really stressed out, when we're jacked up or hyped up, what happens is you have neurons in your brain, and they kind of fire and wire not as synchronicity as they should. And what we're trying to do is to get them to calm down and to fire and wire more cohesively. Oh, that's okay, Brevi. Thank you so much. We just did the 2 techniques. I hope you didn't miss them. I don't know if you were on with that, but thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all that you do in Jen's group too. So as I was saying to people before, I help people to regulate their nervous system to then shift their identity and quantum leap and get results. However, if you need a great, thank you. Yeah, you missed it, but you'll get them out another time. But if you need a really great person to help you manifest your SP, Knockout Babe is the woman to go to. So go follow her and watch her live. She's on every day at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to catch our thoughts. We're going to regulate in real time using one of the techniques that we just talked about. Then the next thing to regulate ourselves, and this is the third and final step, is to choose a different action. And that is so important because stress doesn't live in the mind. Stress lives in the body. So when you make a different choice to do something different, you're actually telling your body it's safe to do something different, that you don't have to be dysregulated. And you're also telling your body that it's safe to make a new choice. So what do I mean by make a different choice? So let's use, for example, an SP again. Let's use the example that my special person, I texted them, they didn't text me back. I'm trying to, robotically affirm that they're texting me, but I'm getting all worked up and I'm having anxiety over it. So then I text them back and, 10 minutes later, and you haven't even given them time really to answer you. So once you can regulate yourself, I think the most important thing is then to make a choice, such as in this case, like you just let it be. You walk away, you don't text them back, you just try to give them space and time. Another example might be you get really triggered by your coworker. So your coworker, your boss, and every time they say something that you get triggered by, you just let out a sigh or you roll your eyes and you're like, oh gosh, I just don't want to hear them. So maybe a new choice might be something really simple, like not rolling your eyes, not letting out that sigh. And it's kind of crazy how even something simple like that can make a profound difference, because now you have a way, you just walk away or you say, that's interesting. And you just don't say anything else. Thank you for joining, Mohammed. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. So the other thing that I suggested the other day is if you're going to be in situations that you're going to be triggered, it's really good to have a plan. So maybe think about the scenario. Think about the scenario. Hi, everybody. Hi, glad to have you here. Thank you for joining. So think about the scenario of when you're going to be in that situation that you could be really triggered. So you go to work and you're going to be triggered by your boss, coworkers, whatever the case may be. And you can write it down. I feel like it really helps to write it down, or you can have it in your mind. But think about the situations in the past when maybe you have been really triggered and you wanted to make a different choice, but you didn't. And then it led to not a good outcome. A different way to approach it might be to write down that scenario. It doesn't have to be an essay, just even a couple of lines. Think about what you could have done differently or how you could think differently, and have that in place, because that way when you get triggered, you're not just trying on the fly to do something. You actually have a plan in place of what you could do to not be triggered and to not react the way that you normally react. Hello, Yassine. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, Mohammed. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I appreciate the hearts. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So that's the third step. Catch your thoughts first. Regulate yourself by using one of the techniques that we went over. The third thing is to make a different choice so that you can get out of your mind, get into your body, make a different choice, and therefore teach yourself that you can make a different choice, because then you'll feel so much better about yourself also. So there's so many side effects of that. One of the things that I like to talk about is that, I'm a pharmacist of 40 years, as I've said, 42 years actually. And there are a lot of side effects of a lot of drugs, which, that happens. I don't ever advocate for people to go off medication. They need to talk to their doctor about it and stuff. But some of the things that I go over and I teach, there are no side effects. So I love using these type of tools to help you regulate yourself so that you can actually do them, but not get triggered and also not have side effects, rather than having a drink or popping, whatever. This is such a better way because you just feel so much better after. So hello, Martia, thank you for joining. So then the final step of all of this is rinse and repeat. And it's not really a step because like I said, there's the 3 steps. But the final thing is to continue to practice it over and over and over again. Because if you think about somebody going to the gym, you're not going to leave the gym buffed after one session. Somebody has to go back. So I'm training to do a 5K in September. I'll be 65, and my goal is to do a 5K run. So watch my journey. I'll be documenting it on my page. And I can't expect to go for one walk and then be able to run a 5K. I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to walk a lot more. I'm going to have to practice running. I've never really ran in my life. So it's going to take time for me to practice to get good at so I can run my 5K in September. And that's the same thing for regulation. You can't do it once and think that it's going to be that way forever. Because what we do when we practice it and we do these self-regulation over and over again, you get much better at regulating yourself and at increasing your baseline. Because the goal isn't to never get triggered. That's not reasonable. That's not a realistic expectation. We all get triggered. Everybody does. I don't care how regulated you are, you get triggered. The question is, how fast can we get back to neutral? Because the goal may also be not to get from frustration, anger, those type of emotions to joy, peace, happiness. It is too wide of a gap. But what can happen is you can go to neutral. And that's a very powerful place to be. Neutral is a very, very powerful place. So by repeating this, like having it on the forefront of your mind, writing down some things to pull out to remind you when you do get triggered or dysregulated, can help you to, in real time, regulate. And as I said, as you do these, you can actually, hi user, how are you? You can actually increase that emotional intelligence that you have and have a baseline so that you don't get triggered as easily. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions or concerns, or, if this seems to really resonate. Good. So it resonates with you. Awesome. Yeah, it is really, really powerful, life-changing information. And it's really can be so simple, as I said, but it's simple, but it's not easy. Because if it were easy, we would all do it all the time. And we would never have a dysregulation problem. But that's not the way that it is. So any other questions? Yep. We're guiding you to nervous system regulation through breath work, eye covering, and also through the system of what I taught. So that's the important thing. Thank you for joining, Leela. Thank you, Lila. So great. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, everybody. So with that being said, hi, MERS Respect. Thank you for joining. There are some interesting names here on TikTok, aren't there? So what I'd like to do is just kind of review it. And then if nobody has any other questions, hi, RR. Thank you for joining. Nervous system regulation, I feel like, and I've learned and I've seen and witnessed over and over again, is something that helps us once we get regulated in our nervous system, then we can identity shift. And identity shift is really just about being that, deciding what we want in life, putting that out there, and then becoming that person, or that having that life or those things that you want in life. And with identity shifting, if you do the identity shifting once you're regulated, you can quantum leap with your actions and results. So 3 years ago, I went to a retreat in September. I could barely walk. I had to have assistance. It was so painful for me. I would go to the conference from my hotel room and bring everything with me for the day because I did not want to walk back and forth to my room. And I just could barely walk. I was 90 pounds heavier, as well as just so much inflammation in my body and my joints that it really was difficult to walk. And to think that in 3 years that I can run a 5K. Like, some people never get to that point. The only way to lose for me is when you quit. So I just don't quit. Now, could I have done it faster? Probably, but that wasn't my journey. But I still feel that 3 years is pretty fast to be able to go from being 100 pounds heavier than I am now, not able to walk, need assistance to do any kind of physical activity, to being able to run a 5K. So you said you can feel so good and you can stay in great mindset. And then when my hormones flare, I get so much anxiety. Yep. And especially at night. So that breath technique, Brandy, I would definitely suggest to try that. I know the hormones absolutely get fluctuated, especially at different times in our life as women, especially, and at nighttime. But doing that heart-centered breathing, if you could do that even for 15 minutes before you start having that, or if you know that it's a certain time of day, I don't know if it's when you go to bed or overnight, but that's also when chemicals are changing in our body because we have a circadian rhythm. We have a certain rhythm of biology in our body. So we want to work with that biology. We don't want to work against it, right? It's almost like you can't fight the current. You can't fight the current, but what you can do is maybe use the current for strategic positioning. So you're saying usually wakes you up around 3 a.m. So absolutely, I think if you tried this breath work, I hope that you were here for that, but it can make such a huge difference, especially if you do it if you could do it for 15 minutes, but even if you did it for 5 minutes before you go to bed, because like I said, it's scientifically proven. I work with an organization called HeartMath, and it's scientifically proven that if you use this breath work for even 3 minutes, you will have 6 hours of positive change in your biology, physiology, and chemistry. 6 hours after 3 minutes. So imagine doing it for 5 minutes or 15. And it can really help. I believe that it could really help that. I know that it sounds very simple, but like I tell people, yes, that is amazing, isn't it? We have studies that prove that. And actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of Greg Braden. He actually even talks about it. So using that breath work, like I said, there are scientific studies that show that. And I think that if you did it, like I said, like before bedtime, it could really help. I would love to know if you do try it, if you can't come back or just even DM me to let me know how that works. And if you have any trouble, I can certainly guide you through, you know, how to really do it to maximize the effect so that you can get the best effect from it. Hi, Rita. Thank you for joining us. So as I was saying, when we can do some of these things, you did miss the exercise. Do you have videos? I'm going to be posting one. So what I'll do though, is I'll shoot a very simple video and just send it to you directly. How does that sound? So I think that you're following me. But I'll make sure that I send you a direct message. So I will do a very short video right after this live of that breath technique, and I'll send it to you, and then you can use it. And like I said, I would really love to know how that works for you. Our bodies are very complicated, right? There's so many different chemicals, so many different emotions that we have, and there are so many things that affect it. So if we can, oh, great. Okay. So you are connected. Perfect. You found me through, Jennifer is the best. Knockout Babe, like I said, if anybody is looking for a specialist, a manifesting coach for SPs, you need to go find Knockout Babe and watch her lives. She'll kick your butt. She's not like me. We're totally different, but that's cool. But she will get you on the right track. So if there's any other questions, please. Hi, Sarah Elizabeth. Thank you for joining. So glad to have everybody on. Oh, thank you so much for the hearts. I love it. I love it. So what we've talked about here today, Sarah, is nervous system. Yes, she will. Yes, Jen definitely will. We're talking about nervous system regulation. We're talking about hello, Sarah. Good to see you. Good to see you. So we talked about nervous system regulation and the formula for it that I have found works so effectively. And the formula is to catch your thoughts so that they are not like a loose train going down the track. Science proves if you can catch them within the first 60 seconds, you can turn it around so much easier. So catch your thoughts because they're patterns, and everything in life is patterns. So watch the patterns. So think about what you think about. That's what's called metacognition. And that's a unique function that only humans have. So think about what you think about when you feel triggered to regulate in self real time. We went over 2 techniques. Every time I come live, I go over the techniques. So we use a breath technique as well as a left eye technique. Regulate yourself in real time so you can get out of your head and back into your body. That's the second step. Then the third step is to choose a different action, because the dysregulation is not, it's in your head, it's in your mind. And it really is important to get out of your head. So by doing some type of different action, you're teaching your body it's safe to get out of your head and more into your body and your heart specifically. And especially that breath technique that I did and taught really helps to get you into the heart. And then rinse and repeat. So you take a different action. So instead of rolling your eyes at your boss or continuously texting your SP when you know it's going to make them mad, you choose to do something different. And it's that micro moment between catching yourself and regulating yourself that then it's that micro moment that we all have where we can make that choice. And that's so critical to start noticing that and to start slowing down enough so that you could notice that and then make that choice. So another choice might be like, if your coworker really makes you mad and pisses you off, is to, instead of rolling your eyes at them, just say, okay, and walk away. And that's really hard to do. But doing that will really change your life. And then you have to rinse and repeat, because it doesn't happen after one time. You don't go to the gym and get buffed after one session. It's something that you have to repeat over and over again in order to train yourself. But what you do then is you will increase your emotional intelligence, and you will get to a point where you don't get triggered as easily. And I'll give you an example. I had a home fire in November of 24, and I was out of my home until June, middle of June, July of last year. So I haven't even been back in my home a year. And there were many opportunities to really get hyped up, to get pissed off, to get jacked up, however you want to say it, but to be really dysregulated. And it was not a good thing. I did not lose my home completely. Sometimes I wonder if it would have been easier, but because it was just really hard to go through they had to take out everything inside because there was so much smoke damage. It was a grease fire from cooking. I was at work. My husband was cooking. And dealing with the contractor, dealing with the insurance company, dealing with all of that. What I did is I decided, thank you, it was pretty difficult. But however, and there were times that I felt like that, but more than not, what I decided to do is to treat it as a beautiful opportunity to overcome myself and to get a new home that we were renovating slowly, and it was paid for. I got a new kitchen. I got a new bathroom downstairs. I got new furniture because I learned more about damage than I ever thought I would know in my lifetime. So that's the difference, is that there were definitely moments during that time, and even now, that I still am like, oh, God, because, it's still not complete. I mean, when you have to move everything out and then back in, or had to have it thrown out and then buy new, there were many opportunities to really get dysregulated. And I did at times. But it's just, yes, it is nice, Sarah, that it all worked out. So, but by deciding, because I was starting to get so triggered, and I'm like, okay, I can't live like this. This is going to be too long of a process. I know that this is not going to be healthy for me. So, and what I did is I just decided, okay, I'm going to make a choice that I'm going to stay regulated, and I'm just going to think of the benefits. We had pretty good insurance. So I tell everybody, look at your insurance, because we stayed at a place just like 5 miles from here. They did a winter rental, and it's an Airbnb for the summer, and it's right on a pond. Beautiful 5-bedroom house, me and my husband and my dog. Oh, hi, Monica. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. We're coming to the end, but I'm so happy that you joined us. Thank you. It was so beautiful to see you earlier today. Thank you. So as I was saying, so I made that choice, but I had to keep making that choice over and over and over again. It wasn't a one and done. I had to keep making the choice that this fire could lead to really good things. And because of that, it actually went pretty smooth, to be honest, with the insurance company. The contractor was a little bit more difficult. And now, like, I'm obsessed with my floors. I love them. I love my new kitchen. I should do a tour someday of my house and the new things that we got. So, and I feel like, all of that really helped to make the experience so much better than it could have been. Because even though we got all new things and, our house was kind of redone and stuff, it still could have been a really awful experience. Thank you. Thank you. It has been amazing. So it still could have been. I mean, there are some times that I would like say, oh yeah, everything's new, but what a shitty thing, blah, blah, blah. And here's another example of being regulated and really holding my own. So I could have been really mad at my husband. I mean, it was an accident, but he was cooking with grease. He walked away for a few minutes. Who knew that would happen? And at first I was like mad. Well, at first I was just so shell shocked. I couldn't believe that a grease fire could cause that much, and soot could cause that much damage throughout my whole home. And I just kept saying to him, because he carried enough of his own guilt. So I just kept telling him how it wasn't his fault. It was just an accident. But I really had to regulate yourself. It could have been, yes, Brandy, it could have been very easy to be upset with him at first. But I wasn't. I just wanted to make sure him and my dog were okay, because my dog did get some burns on his back, but he was okay. We took him to the vet, so he got treated and stuff. But it would have been so easy to not only get mad at him at first, but then to stay that way or have that resentment towards him each time we had a setback with the fire. But with regulating myself, you can see the power of this, the power of regulation, because with the power of regulation, your life can be so much smoother and so much nicer. And that's what I have found, is that it's a very different life living in this kind of flow and with balance and harmony, just like nature. I mean, nature doesn't struggle, right? They don't struggle to grow. They don't struggle to get water through their roots. They just adapt. And so you're taking lessons from nature is something that I try to do often. But anyway, yeah, it's just, there's just so much flow in nature, and there's so much balance. And that's why when we get dysregulated, when we get dysregulated, there's an imbalance there. And what happens is we have more forces coming in to that imbalance. So, for example, let's use your SP, for example. You get really upset that you aren't manifesting them, or that they're not coming back to you, or that they haven't texted you or whatever. The more you think about that, the more the universe is going to show you that, because that's the balance that it wants to have. Same thing for money. The more money that you wish that you had, or the ruminating about not having enough money or not having enough business or any of that, you get that counterbalance of, well, yeah, okay, so you're not going to get that, so we can balance that. And it's kind of a counterbalance, but it's just so much easier when you can let go, truly let go and let God, and just release and do the things that you need to do to make it work, but then just flow with life. And that's what I talk about with my other things that I also teach, because I teach the nervous system regulation, but that's in really shifting identities and taking action to get quantum results. So if you want to message me, my DMs are always open. I have a one-on-one coaching link in my bio, and I also send out a newsletter. So definitely, yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, they don't always, but I think that because my husband, so somebody's saying, gotta get my husband to understand this. And I felt the same way a lot about my husband. And what happened and is happening, I believe, is that the more I do it and I'm the example, then he becomes that more and more. Like, our marriage and our relationship is so much different than it used to be. We used to argue and fight so much. And now we don't. Of course, once in a while, but it's just, again, so much smoother and so much more enjoyable. So I'm going to be coming back. Yes, true for you too. And happy birthday to Monica. Let's all wish Monica a happy birthday. Today is her birthday. Yay! Happy birthday to you, girly girl. You deserve a beautiful day. And go follow her. She's an awesome, awesome person. She coaches too on different trauma things. I don't want to speak for her, but you can go to her bio. So you're welcome. So happy birthday. I hope that you have the best birthday ever. Yes, so Sarah says, happy birthday. And Brandy says, happy birthday. So I'm going to be coming live again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And then tomorrow's Thursday. And then I take a few days off, and then I'll be back next week. But I will be here tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I got to keep remembering to say that. So if you want to join me, I'd love to have you. And again, thank you everybody for your presence. It really means a lot to me. And I'm just so happy that you joined me. And Brandy, I will definitely get that video over to you. I'm going to do it right as soon as we, you're so welcome, Sarah. You're so welcome. I definitely will send that right after. Okay, great. So you'll catch me next week, but I will send that video to you right after. So everybody have a beautiful night, a beautiful weekend if I don't catch you tomorrow. And thank you for joining me.